Alright, okay. So,
8:30.
Yep.
we're the Retro Rangers, and I'm Retro Red.
I'm Retro Black, and introducing...
Retro Blue.
Or He's been on a...
I was on like a Christmas episode or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's been seen, but he's not been officially introduced, so...
Alrighty then. Alright, so we are here today doing our Zelda retrospective, talking about the series.
Because the Final Fantasy one went over so well.
Yeah. And basically, we're going to do more of these possibly in the future. If y'all like this, if you do,
yeah, tell us what you want us to do.
Suggestions, series, particular games.
Okay.
Anyway, so we are going to start with the original, which is the Gold Cart Zelda.
Yep.
That's not the music at all.
No, it's not. But
whatever.
This started a lot with the gold cartridge, especially leading up to the last cartridges they did. They ended up going back to the gold format.
It's also the first one with a memory battery in it, right?
It's one of the first.
Yeah, it was the first game to do the memory. It was it might not have been in Japan, but I know it was for sure in America.
But yeah, it's and as much as I like the new gold, like the fact that they went back to doing the gold, like what they've done with these with the gold discs and
you can't get around the cartridges themselves being gold. It's pretty sexy.
And what's really sad is like the gold cartridge of these, they don't look as good.
They're not.
I just like how I liked them better.
They don't have that chrome look.
Yeah,
but then again,
shiny.
except for this one, which this one's in really good shape, they didn't age too well. If you look,
they didn't age too well, and if somebody wrote on them, they were screwed because you can't get it off without turning the cart black
or turning it gray or whatever.
Yeah,
some fucked up color.
Yeah, and basically, I played this at my aunt's house. My cousins had this. It's the only time I ever got to play it. I never really got anywhere in it, but I loved it, and the music was absolutely addicting.
I didn't really get to like it until I got older.
Yeah.
Because that was the game that, if that was in the console, Mom was playing. And that's all we had to say about it, all we had to do about it. So I learned to hate The Legend of Zelda for no reason other than it meant nobody else was allowed to play. And nobody else had the TV, because we only had one TV.
Ouch.
Yeah. But what I did play of it when I was younger, I did like. To me, being, young and all the other games are run and jump and do things at, pretty much for a kid, breakneck speeds. The original Legend of Zelda is very slow. It doesn't move anywhere near as fast as some of the other games on the Nintendo. So I wasn't in my RPG phase at that point. So I didn't want to play it as much. And then when I got older, I learned to appreciate it. And then came the challenges. How many hearts can you get before you enter the first dungeon?
Or coming to do it in later games, beat the game with only 3 hearts and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah.
And then there was the sequel, Legend of Zelda 2. I never knew it existed until I was older. I never played it until I was older. I played it on ROM originally. It was different. It was formula breaking.
For me, going back to the statement I said about the first one, I liked the sequel because it played more like the stuff that I liked, and I liked the Castlevanias, and I liked, the games like that, Bad Dudes and all those wonderful.
I absolutely fucking hated it, but when you're 5 and your redneck roughneck dad comes in from a yard sale, throws you a box of games and goes, "Here, boy, I bought you a present." And you just start putting them in, it's like, all right, Metal Gear, got this. All right, Ninja Gaiden. This sucks, it's impossible. But, no, not really. It was like, all right, cool. Kind of know what I'm doing. And then I put that in, and me and my cousin would sit there, and we would go into the towns and circle and circle and circle. So and if you went to a dungeon, you die because you didn't have the stuff you needed because no manual.
Yeah, no manual. Well, even with the manual, you didn't know what you were doing. I remember
it was infuriating.
I remember really liking it because it played more like a game at the time that I liked to play. But again, that's from the Nintendo Power era where they wanted you subscribing to Nintendo Power. Another product of that era is Simon's Quest. if you don't have Nintendo Power, you're never going to figure it out because nobody tells you anything. And that game works on the same principle where nobody tells you anything useful.
Yeah, everything is nonsense. I am error.
That's actually not a problem with the game or the translation. There are actually, in the original Japanese, there are 2 characters in that game called Bug and Error.
I just remember going into
Bug was mistranslated.
A million rooms. I am error. I am error. Or whatever the fucking prostitute tells you.
There's a hooker at least.
Yeah.
She was doing more for him than Zelda was at the time.
Apparently.
But
Zelda doesn't most of any of the games actually, but
she's a fucking cock teaser anyway. Except the only one that she didn't is because we're gonna jump forward because it just kind of.
We're gonna. It's hard to do these.
Sword, the last one that came out.
What do you mean the last one that came? That's the last one that came out.
Whatever, the last one that came out that I played. Anyways, I had it. I had a Wii. It was right at the end of me owning a Wii. I loved it when I played of it. Because he's like, wow, this is really good. There's actually kind of story. Him and Zelda are actually interacting. But the controls made it unplayable. And
if you didn't have the Wii Motion Plus.
No, you couldn't even play it without the Wii Motion Plus. I'm talking with the Wii Motion Plus. The controls made it unplayable.
Randy didn't have a problem with it.
To me, the controls were unfriggin' playable.
Again, we're talking about Randy. This is the guy who, in our Final Fantasy retrospective, we said rewrote the entire sphere grid in Final Fantasy X.
And he did.
Actually, I got a correction on him from that. He said, "No, I didn't quite finish it."
Oh well.
I was like, "Well, how far away were you from it?" He goes, "I wasn't that far off, but I didn't quite." Finish.
I'm gonna make a really bad joke to the Zelda cartoon. Well, excuse me, princess. But anyways, what killed me is when I got the play of it before I just said, "Fuck it, the controls suck," was the part where they're riding on the birds, they're giving the lovey looks. It's like, alright, Link's going to get him a piece of ass. And then the wind comes in, steals the princess, and she falls. And I'm just there screaming, I just got cock blocked by a fucking dust tornado. What the hell is going on?
John!
This is why he hasn't gotten a piece of ass these entire games. Is that fucking tornado started it the entire time. It's a series of cock blocking.
30 years!
25, but close enough.
30. Because fuck you, that's why. I'm adding 5 because fuck you, that's why.
But yeah, I mean, I was like, yeah, this is cool.
Actually, you know what adds 5? Fucking CDI. Fucking CDI adds 5 years.
The CDI doesn't exist. I don't care what Zelda titles on
CD,
there.
fucking the Philips thing. Fuck that thing.
You played that, haven't you?
It's an atrocity.
What was the experience? How bad was it?
You have a gun. John, where's your gun?
I do have a gun.
I need to blow my brains out thinking about this.
Well, at least tell us about it before you do it.
No.
Just don't do it on camera.
Can't make any promises. Anyway, I went to Atlanta to visit my cousin, and this was back in the days when Blockbuster was the shit, the fucking thing. And me and my cousin were like, take us to rent a game system, take us to rent a game system. Finally, my aunt gave. And we went into town, and we went into Blockbuster, and the only thing they had was a CDI. And I like games a lot, obviously. I'm talking to a camera about games. And my cousin is 26. He's never been laid because of video games. This is a thing. This is real. But, we weren't that old yet to worry about that. But both of us were like, I don't know what this is. What the fuck is this? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, I don't know. And we were like, well, what titles does it come with? And they're like, we have a Zelda game. And we were like, done. So we drove 20 minutes back to my aunt's house. Spent an hour, a fucking hour, hooking this monstrosity up.
The Philips CDI?
Remember, there were 5 versions of the thing.
Yeah.
An hour, John.
I'm aware.
5 minutes. Hi, I'm Link! And then you would press a button, wait 2 seconds, and then something might happen. Maybe not. Finally, after maybe 10 minutes total between my cousin and I of trying to figure out what was wrong, I just threw the controller I sat down on the floor and I cried like a little girl.
That's enough to make any man cry.
And we begged my aunt to take the thing back to Blockbuster early to let us pay them $15 for that 3 hours total that we had the thing.
3 hour.
3 hours total. 10 minutes of game time.
$15, 3 hours, and 30 years of therapy.
30 years of therapy. I'm not even 30 yet. Figure it out.
Aliens.
Oh.
That's how.
And then we can
But-
go from there.
Well, we can go anywhere. That's the beauty of this series. Is technically, unless you're following this book and its timeline. By the way, John, you get to open that at the end of the. You get to unwrap the seal.
I'm going to go here next then, because I really, really like Twilight Princess. I played it on the Wii. I got the Wii for the Twilight Princess, for love of God. I really enjoyed it. Oh my God, the spinner top. But I really, really enjoyed the story. The wolf mode felt a little forced, but, deal with it. Other than that, it is one of my favorite titles. It is one of my favorite entries into the series just because it was fun. It's the only thing that used the Wii Motion bullshit decent at best. And it just felt like what I was expecting when the GameCube one came. What we wanted on the GameCube, we got. I guess it was on the GameCube. But what we really wanted on the GameCube when we got Wind Waker.
I have bad experiences with Twilight Princess only because I played it on the Wii, and that was that camera control. I actually borrowed this copy belongs to Randy, but I borrowed this one just so I could play a legitimate version of the game that didn't have the controls or the camera controls whipping around as you're running and you're going, I can't see what's in front of me. I can't see what's in front of me. I can't see.
He was like, tree.
Yeah, I ran into like 2 or 3 trees and then I just kind of put the Wiimote down and pulled the game out and was like, I'm done.
And I'm spent, kids.
I might have played 5 minutes of it when it came out.
I mean, it looks
In the
good.
store.
It looks
in the
good.
store. ADHD. Don't have a whole lot of patience.
Ain't
for
nobody got
watching
time for
anything.
that?
Ain't nobody got time for that. So, never really played it. Don't know.
But I would, I want to go back and revisit Twilight Princess at some point because that's the one that everyone seems to really like that one. To me, I'm going to jump way forward. The new one that just come out, A Link Between Worlds. I will post an image with this.
Image.
Yeah, image somewhere here as I'm talking. But A Link Between Worlds is why I should never be allowed to play a Zelda game. You've seen it. I did everything there was to do in the game.
Uh-huh.
Everything. And I only had the thing for a week and a half. It was just like, Zelda! Dungeon. Okay, I'm spent for now. Go to work, come home. Dungeon, put it up, watch TV, go to bed. Wake up, dungeon, go to work.
That's a whole lot of dungeon, Joe.
Well, the thing I liked about this one, though, is it was a throwback to this. It's not an actual sequel because it's in the same, it's mostly the same map, but it's not.
It's the same. It's often the same split timeline. Split timeline.
If you go by the official the official release, this takes place 300 to 600 years after this one.
That's a big gap of time.
And some of the map, the map is more condensed, but
Right.
it's mostly in the same place. You can go up under the bridge where you got the jar in this one.
Yeah.
And there's a guy down there. He's like, your jar, go away.
Jar.
Well, I don't like going to visit him because for some reason the game's just I say something and then you can't hit a button for a few seconds. You have to wait. And wait. And now you can hit a button. And now he says something else and you gotta wait. But I liked that this one went back to the more puzzle... Because after this one, you jumped into Ocarina.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after the Game Boy releases, but
Yeah.
you jumped into Ocarina. And from Ocarina forward, they've all been combat-oriented.
Yeah.
And while they're fun, Zelda was never about combat. It was about overcoming the odds and figuring out what to do and how to do it. And this game is for a Zelda game, it really makes you stop and go, this is why for me, it was why I liked Zelda to begin with. I'm going into a dungeon, and I'm having to figure out this puzzle, this problem, and with the painting mechanic, where you can press up against walls, you really start thinking in a completely different dimension. And suddenly, every dungeon looks and plays different. You walk into a room and it's not, oh, I've got to do this. It's like, where's the wall that I have to latch onto? What's the thing I have to figure out how to get to? It's not, oh, I have to get to that. It's you're going to make me figure out this puzzle. How are we on time?
Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I love this game as much as I love this game, and I would have to say those two are my favorites of the series.
Well, I'm going to go to my favorite next, which is Link's Awakening. I played the ever-living shit out of this. I've only actually played all the way through it once, but I'm not a handheld player. I don't really play handhelds. I played all this all the way through on a handheld. That says a lot. Just great game. The story, this is one of those, the story really just grabbed me and didn't let go. Like the whole thing with the village chick in it.
If I remember correctly, that's the one where he gets shipwrecked, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loved the Ballad of the Windfish. Ballad, besides the main overworld theme, I would say Ballad of the Windfish is probably my favorite music piece from Zelda. Because I would go up to the fish and play it so it would do the big thing with all the instruments and just put the thing up to my ear. That's how much I love this game.
Never played it.
Most of the Legend of Zeldas have great music. I even feel like this one has an amazing score to it. And, being the black sheep of the entire series.
Yeah.
If you ever get to hear some of the orchestrated versions of 2.
Really?
Hell, even Brindlefloss, when he did the renditions of 2, it sounds good.
Yeah.
And it's like that strikes an adventurous theme. But then again, now backtracking a little bit, with Zelda, I like the more offbeat ones, the more obscure ones. If I had to go with favorites of the series, I would have to say I like 2 because it was different. I really like these 2 because they were what that was supposed to be.
Right.
I like Majora's Mask more than I like Ocarina.
Okay.
I like Wind Waker, even though most everybody else doesn't. But I love the fact that you're not Link.
And they don't let you live that down. And
They
we'll pick
don't.
up on Wind Waker in just a second.